Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial video from Project Thank You Design Studio. I'm Louise, thanks for tuning in today. So you're watching because you want to pick up some tips on how you can create an impact with typography. If you're a DIY designer, then it can sometimes be difficult to know if you're doing things right. You might have an eye for design and a bit of creative flair, but that won't necessarily extend to all areas of design, and typography can be a tricky one to get your head around. You might be aware that what you're doing isn't quite working, but you're not sure how to improve on it. So today I'm going to go through one layout in this video, and it's going to be a simple but effective way of making a headline pop. I'm also going to create a call to action with part of the text. So this could be an ad or an image for your blog or website, or one side of a promotional postcard. I've already placed some design elements on my page, so I have some kind of layout going on here. Now I'm just going to type up my headline, which is going to be get ahead of. You might notice that I am typing up the headline in separate lines of text here. So duplicate that one. This is because I am creating a hierarchy in the design of the lines of text. Now, what I mean by hierarchy is the level of importance of certain elements within your design that you want to draw your reader's eye into. So we're not just going to type this text out in a straightforward block and have it all the same size. We are going to get a little bit creative, keeping it simple, but we're going to make certain parts stand out more than others. Okay, let's finish writing this. Video marketing. That's what we're going with today. Okay, so in the hierarchy that I'm going to create, the words that I want to pop out the most are the words your game. Make that bigger. I'm going to change the font to this one. I'm sticking with a nice, clean, simple sans serif font. Sans serif means it doesn't have the little kicks at the end. It's just a clean font, nothing at the end, no caps at the end. I'm going to make it bold. And this is one of the tips that I'm going to say to you that is really important. If you're not too sure what you're doing, a really good way to be confident that you are creating something that you're not going to go wrong with is to stick with one font but use different variations of the same font, so different weights. So here I've got the bold version. Now I'm going to keep this a bit smaller. And I'm going to use the italic version. It's always good to, I'm lining up the edge of that G with the edge of this U here. This is a good way of just making sure everything, always try and line up edges with other edges in your design. That's a rule that I generally follow just to make sure it looks neat and in line. A bit of a neat freak like that. Okay, so the next line of text is just this one word with, which is on its own. Change the font again. I've just realised I didn't even change the font on that one. I'm having it in the same font, so I've changed it now. Again, I will line it up. Great. I'm just whizzing through this quite quickly today. I'll probably spend a while playing around with this if it was an actual live job that I was doing, but just to show you quickly, a little bit bigger. So you want to make sure that the line spacing is equal between all of your lines. What you need is not to have your lines of text like sitting on top of each other like that, and you don't want it up here like that so it looks like the lines are just really disconnected. You want it tight together. So I like to think of it as creating an image out of my lines of text rather than just plain boring lines of text just floating around. Okay, just check they're centered. Oh, that wasn't. Okay, that'll do. Put down slightly. Okay. So, and now we're just going to change the font again of that one. But that is going to be bold because that's going to be our second most important line of text because that's what you're going to be doing, video marketing. So, again, make sure it's centered and that the line spacing is equal and matches what we've got going on between the other lines. So now what I'm going to do is add some arrows, little icons to my design, which is going to draw the reader's eye into the word with here. So it's just a cool little trick, and it also just gives a bit of substance to your design, I feel. Oops, I wasn't meant to move that one. Okay, so it's copying the arrow, rotate it around to 180 degrees. There we go. Move it along. Okay, I'm just going to check that they're both lined up properly by moving them to the middle of the page, grouping them together, and then making sure they're centered perfectly. Okay, now I just need to move that up again because I moved it before. Cool. So now I just want to make sure the edges of these line up. One trick that you can do if you don't know too much about the programs that you're using to design in, and if you're just wanting to keep things really basic, instead of using rulers, you can just draw yourself a rectangle. This is a really simple trick just to make sure that you are lining up the edges of your text. It's all about getting a good alignment. So I'm lining that G and the E up on the right hand side. I'm also going to line up the V and the Y on the left hand side. And just delete that box. Okay, great. So we've got the main headline in. Just going to select all of those lines of text, group them together, make it a bit bigger, and center it on the page. I'm going to also change it to white just to make it stand out even more. Move this down out of the way a bit too. That should be a video recorder rather than a camera, but it'll do. Okay, let's move it down slightly again. Great, now I'm going to create a call to action at the bottom here, so I'm just going to type this up. Claim your that. It's going to be 60-minute coaching call. That sounds like a pretty good offer to me. And then we're going to put in the website where you claim it. Obviously, you just put in whatever text you want. I'm just doing random examples to show you how to lay it out. Okay, so again, we want the same font that we've used all the way through. I have these words in bold. And I'm going to change the colour to match this yellow that's at the top, just to make it stand out and be different from the headline. Okay, and I'm also going to make the website the same colour. Make that bold as well. And that's going to stretch right across the bottom there. So what I'm going to do with this line of text is something a little bit different. This is what you're giving away, the 60-minute coaching call. So I want that to, again, stand out from all the rest of the text on the page and just pop out at the reader so it gets noticed. So I'm going to actually use a different font for this line of text, which is totally fine because we've been really consistent and stuck with the same one all the way through. So it's not like we've got loads of clashing fonts everywhere. You don't have to worry about that. We're just putting in a nice, slightly more scripted, sort of handwritten looking text, but it's a really bold one that's going to stand out, and it does complement the one that we've used throughout. So it works, I think. I'm going to copy this blue colour. So we're using a different colour completely for this line of text. And I'm just going to try slanting it slightly and see if this works. Just make sure it's centered nicely. Okay. Just make that a bit smaller so it's not intruding on the text. You don't want any design elements that are overlapping any of your text or anything like that. Keep it a nice distance away so that everything is clear and readable, legible, and you're not going to put anyone off reading what you're trying to say. Okay, just move that down a little bit so it just sits on top. Make that a bit bigger. Okay, so just to recap what I've done there, I have gone with simple sans serif typeface throughout to create the main headline. I've kept to the same font, apart from this line of text here, but different variations of the same font. So I've stuck with this font, but I've used the italic, the bold, the regular, the bold, and then the bold again. And then I've changed it up, added in a complementing typeface there, but again, one that's bold and easy to read, it's clean. And I made sure that it's one that it doesn't clash. It's different, but it does go nicely with the font that I've used. Okay, so those are just a couple of rules that I would stick to, remembering that if you're not too sure, it is always a good idea just to stick with the same font and use different weights of that font. You can't go too wrong with that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I'll be back soon with some more videos. If you are interested in watching more of these tutorial videos or finding out more about Project Thank You Design Studio, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel below. And also, to find out more information, you can hop on over to projectthankyou.com and I will be there to answer any questions. Thanks very much. Bye.